I didn't send that picture out.
But that's not a picture of you?
You know, I can't say with certitude. My system was hacked. Pictures can be manipulated. Pictures can be dropped in and inserted. One of the reasons that I've asked a firm that includes an internet security arm is to take a look at what the heck happened here, was to make sure it doesn't happen again. But let's kind of keep in mind why this is so silly. You know, someone committed a prank on me. Somehow got access to my Twitter account, and by the way, put up a picture that made fun of the name Weiner, and that's what happened here.
But Congressman, you would remember if you were to take a photograph of yourself like that, you know?
Well, you know, one of the reasons we've asked an internet security firm to come in is to see maybe something was manipulated, maybe something was dropped in. We don't know for sure what. I'd like to take this time to clear up some of the questions that have been raised over the past 10 days or so and take full responsibility for my actions. At the outset, I'd like to make it clear that I have made terrible mistakes that have hurt the people I care about the most, and I'm deeply sorry. I have not been honest with myself, my family, my constituents, my friends, and supporters, and the media. Last Friday night, I tweeted a photograph of myself that I intended to send as a direct message as part of a joke to a woman in Seattle. Once I realized I had posted it to Twitter, I panicked. I took it down and said that I had been hacked. I then continued with that story, to stick to that story, which was a hugely regrettable mistake. This woman was unwittingly dragged into this and bears absolutely no responsibility. I am so sorry to have disrupted her life in this way. To be clear, the picture was of me, and I sent it. I'm deeply sorry for the pain this has caused my wife, Huma, and our family, and my constituents, my friends, supporters, and staff. In addition, over the past few years, I have engaged in several inappropriate conversations conducted over Twitter, Facebook, email, and occasionally on the phone with women I have met online. I have exchanged messages and photos of an explicit nature with about 6 women over the last 3 years. For the most part, these communications took place before my marriage, though some have sadly took place after. To be clear, I have never met any of these women or had physical relationships at any time. I haven't told the truth, and I've done things that I deeply regret. I brought pain to people I care about the most, and the people who believed in me. And for that, I'm deeply sorry. I apologize to my wife and our families, as well as to our friends and supporters. I am deeply ashamed of my terrible judgment and actions. And I'll be glad to take any questions that you might have.
Now let's go to correspondent Doug McElway here in Washington to talk a little bit about the ethics questions that are already coming up and other political reaction. Good evening, Doug.
Good evening, Brett. There are a lot of folks examining at this very hour whether what Representative Weiner did was a violation of House rules or of breaking the law. He addressed that question quite specifically at his press conference this afternoon.
I don't see anything that I did that violated any rules of the House. I don't see anything that I did that certainly violated my oath of office to uphold the Constitution. I engaged in inappropriate online conversations with people that included, photographs, and it was a mistake to do that. But I don't believe that I did anything that violates any law or any rule.
But one of the women who is alleged to have engaged in a computer sex and telephone sex relationship with Representative Weiner told the website Radar Online, quoting now, "I gave him my number and he called me from his office and we proceeded to talk dirty for at least 30 minutes. A few days later, I tried to call him back on that number, but the number wouldn't connect to his office. Instead, there was a recorded message that it was outgoing U.S. Congress line only." Now, if true, that may be very significant because House rules state, quoting, "Anything supported with official funds is an official resource." That's from the House Ethics Manual. Further, Representative Weiner's series of interviews on Wednesday, June 1st, with major media, including with this network, were conducted in his congressional office to perpetuate what the congressman has now admitted was a lie. There are procedures in place if an ethics complaint is brought against Congressman Weiner. First, a referral must be made to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee would have to determine the facts of the case. An investigative subcommittee would be impaneled, the congressional equivalent of a grand jury. That panel would issue a report. If it recommends punishment, the entire House would vote whether to punish him. But there is another option. Any member could potentially craft a resolution which could be brought before the House that could recommend reprimand, censure, or expulsion. If it's ruled in order, the House could vote on such a resolution. And as we have just reported, to repeat, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi has asked for a House Ethics Committee investigation of Representative Weiner to determine whether any official resources were used or any other violation of the House rules occurred. Brett?
Doug, thank you. And just a quote from the leader's statement, Nancy Pelosi, quote, "I'm deeply disappointed and saddened about this situation for Anthony's wife, Huma, his family, his staff, and his constituents. I'm calling for an ethics committee investigation to determine whether any official resources were used or any other violation of House rules occurred."
It's not about agenda. It's not about mobilizing people. It's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.